What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bitcoin and Markets. My name is Ansel Lindner. Thought I'd put out a quick video going over my recent blog post. I am posting on bitcoinandmarkets.com as well as roguemacro.substack.com, my new podcast and blog over there. So make sure to check that out. All right, let's dive into this. Again, this was published yesterday. It's a real quick update on the Bitcoin price, and let's get into it. All right, let's start off by looking at volume by price. Unlike the normal volume chart that shows trading activity over time, this chart shows how much Bitcoin has traded at each price level. That matters because traders tend to cluster their orders where a lot of activity has already occurred. These areas often become support and resistance zones. So, if you guys are unfamiliar with my brand of technical analysis, it heavily relies on very common indicators and momentum indicators, really because these are shelling points on the chart. It is where eyeballs concentrate and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. So that's very important to understand that these are focal points. You can see that Bitcoin has built a significant amount of support below the current price. At the same time, price is now moving through a relatively low volume section of the chart where fewer trades have taken place historically. When price enters these thin areas, it can often move more quickly because there are fewer orders to absorb the buying pressure. So you can see over here on the right, this is the volume that was built up here and back here, being at around 67,000. So you can go further back in time and there's going to be more volume, but this is specifically from the visible range. So what's on the chart and where the volume is, that's from the visible part of this chart. You can see this thin area. So there won't be a lot of orders placed in the order books on the exchanges, like sell orders at these certain levels, because those aren't important to people or they haven't been important in the past. So the most important next level here is up at 87,700, which also happens to be near the yearly open. So if we go, see here's 2026, if we go up right where this blue line and the price line connect is right about the yearly open. I think it was like 87.5 or something like that. So that happens to be this control zone for the volume by price as well. That level is likely to act as the next major test if the rally continues. All right. Before reaching that point, however, Bitcoin still has to clear several smaller resistance levels. If price can push through those barriers this week, it would set the stage for a move toward 87,000 region over the next couple of weeks. Technically, Bitcoin has now moved back above the 50-day moving average. That's an encouraging development, but by itself isn't enough to declare a fully bullish breakout. We saw a similar situation back in January when price stayed above the 50-day average for a short time and even broke some horizontal resistance, but ultimately failed to sustain momentum. So that possibility still exists. So what I'm talking about here is this particular part in January. We break up. It really looks quite bullish here, breaking above these previous highs in the consolidation zone, but it rolls over, goes back under the 50, tests the bottom of the 50 right here, and the bottom falls out. So right now we're back above the 50, back above the horizontal resistance. There is some, you can see a very faint red line that's I put in here just to symbolize this kind of diagonal resistance. But then a faint green line here is also some resistance just from the top, marking this top here and then getting back there. This is the 200-day moving average up above, and that is coming down quickly. That probably won't make it down to 87 by the time we get to 87, but it's possible. So there are some of these little hurdles to get over before we make a break for 87, and we always have to be watching out for a repeat of this. Um, all right. That said, the current move appears more structurally sound. Support has been building below price, and the market is now pushing into a thinner part of the volume profile where advances can happen more quickly. The major milestone will be a close above 77,000 to clear the horizontal resistance. The diagonal trend from the all-time high, light green, can be crossed at 81,000. After that, we reach 87. So there are, like I said, there are a few hurdles around here, but the next main target is 87,000. Buyers must maintain momentum now. The breakout is in a precarious spot, and if it fails with price slipping back down to 70,000, we could revisit the lows. Price must continue higher or the breakout is lost. And I also wanted to put in here this recent history. Simply buying breakouts hasn't worked very well. So there was a period in Bitcoin's history where you could just buy any breakout, any all-time high breakout, and you can see that in some of the traditional markets as well. That's a strategy that people uh, do use. They buy the breakout and they set a very close stop loss just under that all-time high. So you buy the all-time high and you limit your downside by putting a very tight stop loss. You could be doing that on Bitcoin for many years and it worked out well, but it has failed recently. You can see these breakouts all reversed. And are we going to have the same situation here today? Remains to be seen, but caution is definitely warranted. All that said, the chart is improving, but caution is still warranted. Use margin use should be minimal at this time with a tight stop loss if you are leverage trading. Let's take a quick look at the live chart. And you can see this red line that I was talking about that we just broke out above all the way up to 76,000. So getting close to that 77 that we talked about. And then back tested this breakout. And now we're going back up right now, 74,600. All right. So that is it for today, guys. Make sure you check out bitcoinandmarkets.com. Sign up for a free account or support my work there with the pro tier. I do hardcore analysis for Bitcoin and macro. It's a shared paid tier for my two websites. So check that out at bitcoinandmarkets.com. All right. Thanks. Have a great day. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.